This is just a small reboot of Young Millionaires with this talk show called Camtalks. And today, so guys, thank you for first off subscribing to my YouTube channel. Thank you for subscribing to Camtalks. If you know me, if you had a chance to have a conversation with me, you know that I started a dope magazine called Young Millionaires. And this is just a small reboot of Young Millionaires with this talk show called Cam's Talk. And today our topic, what we'll be talking about is the diversity of love. And I'm really excited to get this episode started. I have some wonderful guests that's here to share a little love with you. So before we jump into this episode, I want to take time to talk about a few things. A week ago, I lost someone that had just been introduced to me in my life, my cousin Richard. And it's crazy because ever since I met him, he was extremely positive, texting me words of wisdom, or inboxing me things that I was doing. And I just want to dedicate this portion to him and to being kind, because he was one of the kindest men that I ever met. And whatever you do out there in this crazy world that we live in, try to be as kind as you can and try to give people that good energy. The second thing I would like to talk about is Growing in the Mud. This is a book that was put together by my little sister, Zabi Parker. And I recommend you read this now, not later. It's going to be great. So, with all that said, let's jump into this great episode. And let's start to have these conversations about love. So here from left to right, we have Zabi Parker and Keandra James. And we have Alexis Bennett. And we have Jonathan Stevens. Thank you guys for coming to be a guest on Cam's Talk. Y'all are the first official guests. How y'all feel about that?
Feel bad. I'm so excited. Like it's a privilege.
Let's do this. Look, y'all gonna look back in 2 years and y'all gonna be like, I was the number one. Y'all was the most important guest, and y'all are. So, the first thing that you ask when you see a couple, you always want to know, where did you guys meet? So I'm giving you the opportunity to introduce yourselves and let us know where and how did you guys meet.
My name is Zabi Parker.
I'm Keandra James.
And I'll be the one to tell the story of how we met, because it was kind of like me initiating it.
I'll make sure it's accurate.
Basically, I was at work and I was just talking to one of my friends at work, and I was like, hey, I'm looking to date again. And she pretty much was like, oh, I know somebody perfect for you. And I was like, oh, okay, great. And so she showed me a picture, followed her on Instagram, all that happened. I wrote her, and I was like, hey, I think that you're beautiful. And basically, I want to get to know you and all that good rock, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was given a soft no, right?
That's
Okay,
correct.
a soft no. And then, but we continued to follow each other. And I think then, from then, it was just like, every now and then, we're such a emoji-like, social media-like type of people.
Yeah,
these
so you
days.
shot your shot at the end.
In the
I
DM. But I guess
know,
there was no other way to do it.
It wasn't.
If we really
I
don't
mean,
run in the same pack or
that's-
whatever.
Hey, I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
To shoot your
Well,
shot in the DM.
clearly I
She don't like that.
normally don't, because
Period.
I'm more into
Traditional.
real connections, already knowing how you are, you know what I'm saying,
right.
before I can make that decision. I like
So-
to watch how you move.
What was different about, this time? What was different about the shot, being shot in the DM?
Well, like she said, it was a no at first.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell everybody no off real, on Instagram, because I don't know you.
Right, this is true.
Ain't no Kobe Bryant going on in your DM.
None whatsoever.
Or is it turning a no into a yes? It's like, let's see if they can get past stage one.
Yeah,
Right.
pretty much.
But my thing was obviously she was respectful.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Cool. very trusted friend, Aaliyah, from college, had already, kind of told me about it a little bit. I was like, well, nah. I'm just like not really dating, not doing all of that.
Yeah.
Cool. But I do think sometimes people like try to push that on somebody too, and it's like, no, everybody that you meet will not be somebody.
Exactly.
And that's fine. Take whatever that experience is and move on, because you shouldn't have to fight for attention. You shouldn't have to fight for like to feel loved. Not necessary.
Y'all saying. Moving forward to Miss Bennett and Mr. Stevens, how did you guys meet and where did you meet and how was that?
So I'm Alexis.
I'm Jonathan.
And so we have two different stories that we think is how it was. I'm going to say my part of the story. He can say his part of the story, or he can narrate me, whatever he would like to do. So in 2018, March 2018, we both worked at Wind Creek Montgomery. It's a casino here in Montgomery. And I was a hostess, just doing my job, greeting people. So he comes up from the elevator with some of his guests and he's talking. And when he sees me, he's like, starstruck. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. And so I'm like, hey, my name is Alexis, welcome to Edabina. It was one of my first days there, so I was kind of nervous just to meet anybody. And when they said, oh, Jonathan the host is coming up, everybody starts running around. I'm like, what's so important about Jonathan the host? I don't understand what's so important about him or why he's bringing guests up, why it's so important. And so I'm just being myself, hey, my name is Alexis, welcome to Edabina. So he comes up, he's starstruck, and I'm just like, welcome to Edabina. Are you going to say your name or what's going on? I don't understand. So we ended up talking a little bit more. He came up more. We kept talking more. And then so one day he's like, I'm going to give you my number. I think you're beautiful. Do with it as you will. Right?
I mean, I don't know if I would have said it like that.
Well, okay.
Do with it as you will.
Okay. And so about a week later, I texted him. And immediately I just fell starstruck. I was like, wow. I really kind of like him, and then it wasn't the time when I was in the point in my life where I was kind of selfish. I was kind of, going out to the bars. I, was kind of still flirting with, just being myself, being single, being myself. And so it was at the point in my life where I didn't want to be tied down, and then he kind of just kept trying and kept talking, and I was like, you know what? I want to be with him. Okay. And so I want to be with him, and I don't want to flirt with guys anymore. I want to pursue him. I really want to see where this goes.
Yeah.
And so we started talking. He brought me flowers, went on dates, and then 3 years later, well, almost 3 years later, it feels like a lifetime, and it's only been 3 years, and I don't think I've ever been happy.
Wow.
Hey, and that's
But I think like that first moment, that first meeting, yeah, it was kind of. I mean, I can't really remember a time where I was really just speechless and just like, wow, who is this? Like I really want to know who this person is and find out more about them. They seem so sweet already. They seem so like bubbly and energetic and like good at their job too. Like all those things, for me at that time were attractive. Like going to school, working a full-time job and like being as sweet as she is, I'm like, that's awesome.
you actually did your homework. You studied her. And hey, that's a big portion of love right there. Studying your partner. And so yeah, man, that's cool. I'm listening to y'all so far, and I'm just like, hey. I can feel the love in the room right now. I'm not just saying that to, appreciate, or to make this bigger. I feel the love right now, and that's the most important thing. That's real.
I wanted to play the piano and stuff.
Yeah.
Saxophone.
And that slides into the next topic that I see a lot of, back and forth, on social media about, you grow in love. Like, they make love seem like it's supposed to be something that's difficult. And I always tell people that the type of love that I'm looking for is supposed to be steady. It's supposed to be calm. So I don't think it's any way that you can define love. That definition that they have, I don't think that's love because it's no way. my way is, I think love should be like a leaf on the pond. Do you guys feel like that you're supposed to struggle in love? Do you feel like any point that love's supposed to be a job?
I think some of your words are important. So struggling in love and like love being a job, I wouldn't say so. Is it something that you do have to work at and get better at? Yes, it is. But I think sometimes when you think of jobs and struggling, of course, there's a negative connotation to that. So I don't think that you do have to struggle to love. However, to me, I've never been so in love with somebody, and it has taught me new levels to myself that need more work, that need more patience, that need more kindness, all of that, you know. And that part is just like, it urges you to be a better you, for real. And like you said earlier, you have to study your partner as well. Yeah. So it's like, you know, what may come easily to you as showing love may not be the way that they feel it the best. So it is up to you to figure out how to mix the two of those. Yeah. And that can be, you know, technically work. But all this like crazy cheating, just like really high stress relationship stuff, that's not it. I can tell you that from the jump. Like, there's a certain level of calmness, stillness, peacefulness, comfort, and stability that comes with real love, and you're not unsure about it when you get it.
Unsure. Man, that's a word right there. You know, I think the point that I want y'all love to make is, when you're in love, nothing is really unsure. When you know that you love that person, and I'm only speaking off of, I'm not speaking off of experience, so who am I? You know, I'm speaking off of, you know, if I was to be in love, I don't want to be unsure about anything when it comes to my partner. If my partner tells me, hey, I want to open up a taco stand, I'm like, well, fuck, let's find out what can we do to begin to open up this taco stand. I'm not gonna talk you down from it. I'm not gonna make you feel any type of way. I'm gonna be like, let's divert a plan to do this taco stand.
I mean, I feel the same way with Alexis. You know, whatever she wants to do, like, I'll support it. And depending on like what it is, and I think we were just kind of talking about something, but it's like, I might not necessarily be the one to bring it up and say you should do this. But if you were to come to me and say this is what I want to do, then definitely I'm gonna support you. You know, because it's you know, just because we're together in a relationship and we love each other and we, you know, are gonna do things that maybe like help sort of like move us forward. You're still like, you know, your own individual. So your goals and your dreams and things that you want to do are important to me. And I think that like that love and the relationship and like supporting it, I think that's like, it's almost like feeding fuel to the flame. You know what I mean? If we want it to burn hot and bright, then supporting you in what you want to do is like one of those ways.
And that's the thing. So it's like, that does take continuous nurturing, right?
And work, like you were saying,
yeah,
right?
It does. And that's why I think that it is such a beautiful thing to be able to work at it. As long as you know you have a partner, like somebody who's actually working toward it with you, you're so much more likely to reach your goals and all of your aspirations when you have yourself, who you can always count on, right?
Right.
And then you have a partner who you know, like, as long as I'm not with no illegal shit, they got me. Like,
I mean, I know with me and Jonathan, I don't think I have met another person that has supported me like him. Like, when I first met Jonathan, I was working 40 hours a week, taking 18 hours of college classes, driving to Troy every single day to go to class. And he really stepped up. He really stepped up and just made me feel like I got this. On days where I'm crying, I'm like, dang, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I get home at 10 o'clock, I have a project due at 12 o'clock, I have 18 hours of college classes. He really he is one of the 3 reasons I graduated college. If it wasn't for Jonathan, I don't think I would have graduated, because he really achieved. Like, he really just supported me in everything I wanted to do. Whether that be if I just wanted the mental health day, I wanted to skip class. I know that's not the best thing to skip class, but even if I needed to miss that, he's like, oh, yes, you should. Even if it was just the silliest thing, he always supported me. So I really don't think in this 3-year relationship I have grown so much. Like, the person I was 3 years ago is not the one that's sitting right here right now. It is not. I mean, I really can truthfully say that. And the person sitting here right now isn't the person I met 3 years ago.
And then that's the same, like, what you were saying, too, like being able to like grow with each other too.
Yeah.
I had to go back. I had to recant, the question I asked. I should have said something totally different. But y'all both of these couples just really explained to us that working in love, when you have a partner that's trying to connect with you, is the most important thing. And I've used this analogy several times. Like Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen was the greatest 2 duo in any sport. That's non-debatable. So, in that relationship that they had, Michael Jordan was allowed to be the greatest player of all time because Scottie Pippen did the most difficult things. He guarded some of the toughest defenders. He got the dirty rebounds. He did all the things that allowed Michael to shine. So I feel like in love, it's Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen versus the world.
Yeah.
Some days, some days, Alexa's gonna have to be Michael Jordan, and Jonathan is gonna have to be Scottie Pippen, and that role's reversed. Some days Zavi is gonna be Jordan, Keandre gonna be, Scottie. Some days is dedicated to that person to shine. If your partner supporting you, loving you, believing in you, you're gonna get those championships. Y'all both on the same team. That's just. I think if we simplify it like that and we stop trying to make love this equation, I think it'll be a lot easier for a lot of other people.
And I think that kind of goes into probably something else, but I think it really goes to show that you do have to have some non-negotiables. You do have to have some things that you absolutely need, some things that you know that you can go without. And you have to know, whatever it is that you bring to the table yourself. I hate to talk about the table because people get so weird about it, but you really do have to know how you support yourself first and foremost. And you need to find somebody else who can bring that same thing to you.
Equal or more. I think the biggest thing that Kendra always tells me is, especially when it comes down to buying gifts and things, she's always like, it's things that I can get for myself, and if you can get them good, but if not, you know what I'm saying, it's a problem. I mean, just keeping it a buck, like, you know what I'm saying. But I just realized that when you're, I don't like to say bringing stuff to the table, but when you're with somebody, you're dating them, and you have to be able to match their fly. Let me just put it simple like that. Like, if she, certain things that she could do for herself, if she could go out here and spend buku money on whatever she likes to get, then I should be able to every now and then surprise her with it.
And you know what, Zabi, is you would think that a lot of people would be like that. Perspective is golden. That's the key. But you have a lot of people, and it's mostly men that look like me. I had to look at the camera to say that because I know I'm gonna get some, but hey, whatever. That always try to make these women come down off of their work.
You don't have to do that.
You should never.
Any woman out there, if I'm ever courting you, hold me accountable to that.
Right.
Don't come down off your standards for me.
Right.
If I'm not willing to rise up to that, hey.
But you know what? I gotta say the same thing for me and women alike.
Yeah, that's true.
Interchangeable. Like men, you know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta drop down.
That's true. That's
like,
that's true.
No.
Well, it's like what we were saying, like healthy. And just because someone, you know, maybe wants to wear Gucci like all day, every day, or whatever, and like just because that's what they want, isn't something like bad. You know, if somebody appreciates material things or really nice things, that's okay, right? There's no reason for me to judge somebody or think ill of somebody who's like that. And so that's the same with us. Like I might not like personally speaking, I might not even have ever bought this shirt for myself. You know what I mean? But it does look nice, and I do appreciate it. And and so it works out.
And you know that's right there leads into the next question that I was going to ask. You know, and it's about the levels of love. You know, like how let me get my thoughts together. When you both of you couples made it official, y'all became one for the time being, and let's hope forever. How did you guys love each other on your levels? You know, because we all have different levels of love. You know, where I'm going to be loved at, I ain't coming down off where I'm going to be loved at. I ain't no woman going to make me come down and love her below the level that I want to be loved. So, how did you guys mesh your different loves?
Right? Because it's probably something that took some time. You know, like we knew we cared about each other, right? We knew we were falling in love, and then we love each other now. But I know for me personally, like there's a certain element of freedom that I need, right? There's a certain amount of my own space that I need, but partly because of how long like I was single and stuff, but also just the nature of who I am. I enjoy feeling like if I want to go in a certain direction, or if there's a certain project I want to work on or something like that I've got the flexibility and freedom to do that. And I know that you appreciate a lot of like quality time, right? I think there's like a book about the different types of love. It's like quality time, displays of affection, right. And I mean, and it's real, it's legit. And so it took some time for me to go, okay, wow, those two things are normally not quite compatible, right? Like I need freedom. Like it's almost like the thing is like, don't hold on to the balloon too tight because it's gonna pop. But if you don't hold on tight enough, it's gonna fly away. And so it took us time, and I would say that's one of the ways that we sort of meshed the love is that she was able to understand over time what that meant, what that looked like, and I was able to as well. Like,
because when we first started kind of meshing, I took it as, oh, he doesn't want to hang out with me, or oh, he just wants to be alone, he doesn't want to be around me. But when I finally realized, oh, I get it, he just needs his time. Like, when he wants to go and play his video game. Like, I know sometimes I still get like, whatever. Yeah. But I get it. It's his time. It's his time to kind of chill, talk to his brother on the phone, play the video game. And now I've during these times I've gotten my own little alone time. I kind of like to chill by myself, watch TikTok, kind of do my own thing, and I'm finally realizing, oh dang, this is what he's been talking about. I like this. Mm-hmm. I like this alone time. I like this me time. And it'd be sometimes where we don't say a thing to each other for like 3 hours in the house, and I finally realize, oh, I have a boyfriend. Let me get up and like actually.
Like what you're talking about earlier, knowing and loving yourself, and then how that works like in a relationship where it's like again, like it's important to be, your own individual, because when you have that strength in yourself, then it allows you to like be able to give more, Yeah. And that's almost like what it felt like for me, where if I do have some of that balance, then I've got peace of mind. I have that balance, and I'm able to give you the energy I think that you need. I like it.
That's a very interesting and intriguing question. I hope I understand it properly. But I know that as it relates to levels of love, I imagine there are many more that we will go through. Because it's, life is long.
Right.
It's short, but it's long.
Right.
While you're on the ride with somebody else and people evolve.
Yeah.
But one thing that I do know, so me and Zavi have been officially together 8 months. which doesn't sound like a long time.
It seemed like a long time.
But
it feels like
So much has been packed into those 8 months.
Well, yeah, but also we've been together for a year.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
we weren't entertaining other people once we met each other.
When it's like that relationship was developing before it was like.
Yeah,
official.
the relationship was developing. So I say that to say we were well in love by the time we made it official, even though it was only 4 to 5 months of us being together and knowing each other.
Right.
So for me, it was a very intentional step to get into a relationship anyway. And it was like, I feel like I have to tell this part because it just makes everybody understand. But during those 4 to 5 months that we were just learning each other and knowing each other, and I say that we were already in love, I mean that because, you know, for us to have a same-sex relationship, there are a lot of things that come with that. It's not necessarily like I had to come out to the world, you know what I'm saying? But in a sense it was. I'd already been out to my closest friends and all those things, you know. I'm a very transparent woman. However, you know, if you look at me on social media, you ain't gonna find out too much. If you...
No, you're not.
You know, you won't. And as far as my family goes, you know, I had never been in a relationship with a woman, so I knew that was a big step that I needed to make, and I didn't want to make that claim, I suppose, if I had not already been sure. So for me, it was like, well, you know, I already know I'm not finding this anywhere else, period, at all. So I'm gonna walk into it. I'm walking into it confidently, and I say that to say that we were like obviously still cupcaking a little bit, but we did know already for real, off rip. That's it.
Yeah.
So
that's the first level.
By me sitting here listening to y'all tell us about your love, it just dawned on me that love is alive. And I'm gonna explain that. Love is not something that's just abstract. You know, a lot of people are in love incorrectly because they love in the abstract form. You know, they can't touch that love. Like, I can reach out and I can touch your books, I mean, because it's concrete. You know, it's a thing in this world. It has a place in this world. These pages are flowing. Love is a living, concrete thing. And there's no end to it. It's only a beginning. You jump into it. And once you jump into that lake of love, you keep swimming.
You better keep swimming.
And I think that's something that, you know, we all need to remember. You know, most important, love yourself before you try to love someone else. You know, fall in love with yourself and jump in that lake of loving yourself. And swim into it until you feel like that your love for yourself is strong enough to love someone else. But I think that's a lot of people fail at. They think that they can reach the heights of love. You don't never supposed to want to reach the highest height of love because you want to continue to go up different mountains of love.
Love each other.
Yeah,
that's
true.
Yeah.
You know, and as we wrap this up, I think that you guys have displayed your love and have explained on so many different topics and different situations on how y'all love is different but the same. And I say all that to say we all have to love stronger for this world to be a better place. And it's really up to us to make this world what we want it to be. You know, we can sit up and we can type all we want to type, and we can sound inspired when we doing a Facebook Live or Twitter Live or whatever. But until you actually start loving, like real deal loving, like concrete.
Word about love. I think that the number one thing that you need to remember, especially when you fall in love with a person, like I said in the beginning, is to love yourself first. Because how can you properly care for a person in a relationship, whether you have, you know, think about you have kids, think about how much time you spend with each other, you know, you have to take care of self, because if you don't and you start lacking, let's say that you're not taking care of your mental, you don't go to your job, or you don't go to work, or you don't work on any dreams or goals or aspirations or anything, you just kind of just stop point blank. That means you don't care about yourself, because you got to have living for yourself. And if you don't care about that, then how can you even remotely bring someone else in that atmosphere, in that environment? How could you care for a person if you don't care about yourself? How can you feed another person if you don't feed yourself? How can you take showers with a person if you don't want to shower yourself? So I just mean that holistically, like on a career basis, a spiritual basis, a mental basis, a physical basis. Love you, and then share that with someone else. Make it overflowing for yourself, and whatever overflows, which is going to be a surplus amount to be in the right space, share it with the next person.
I don't
That's great. I like that.
I have two things. The first one is very short, and it's what my parents have told me. They said love is not unsure. And we touched on that at first. And they told me that, and I was in a couple other relationships, and I was unsure, and I was like, nah, I think they just confused, you know. You're going to be a little bit unsure. No, I'm here to tell you, you will not be unsure when you meet your person. You won't. And now, does that mean they'll be perfect? No. Does that mean that you'll be perfect? The situations will be perfect? No, but you'll know that you'll be able to
grow together.
Yeah, grow together and tackle life together. And yeah, being in the midst of a pandemic let me know that, like, it doesn't matter what's going on in this crazy world, I want to do it without you, period. The second thing is to not hold people hostage. Don't hold people hostage. That's not love. Ooh. That's not love. You need to allow people to grow. You need to allow people to change who they are, because they will, you know.
Sure. And
you need to be down for the evolution. And even if it's something that you can't take anymore, the love needs to be so strong that you still love them regardless, even if it's not a romantic love anymore. So like, just life is a journey, and people are not yours to keep all the time, you know?
You know what, Keandra?
I know, I don't know, I guess, shoot. So, I give a lot of credit to my mom. I guess maybe it was like how she was raised. She was always like a giver and a caretaker. You know, she was a nurse and everything. You know, took care of elderly people, took care of relatives and everything. And I remember like growing up, and there was always, it was, you know, if there was like a bully at school or something like that, or you know, you get in a disagreement with somebody, I would go to my parents or go to my mom, and it seemed like no matter what it was, or even like a fight with my brother, no matter what it was, it was like, well, you just have to find some space in your heart to love them, you know, and just, you know, do your best, and, you know, just kind of keep moving and things like that. But it was always rooted in that, where it's like, you know, you just have to try your best to find a way to love them in life. So I really hold that near.
A round of applause for coming and being my first guest on Camtalks. And thank you guys for sharing, and thank you for being transparent. I really appreciate that, and I'm sure all the viewers of this episode will really appreciate it. And I hope that this inspires somebody out there, and I hope it makes somebody feel that's in a situation where they feel they might be unsure, or feels like, hey man, this. I hope this solidifies it. Yes. And before we part, I just want to say that my word is, don't be afraid to venture out and find love. You're not gonna strike gold like you might think you will the first time. And if you do, hey, congratulations. It's always someone out there that's willing to love you on your terms, and willing to love you for you. So give that a shot, and always remember, in Young Millionaires, in us we do trust.